Wedding Talk with Mindi and Carol, your insider guide to trends, tips, and stress-free planning.
Ready. Hi, I'm Carol.
And I'm Mindy. Welcome to Wedding Talk with Mindy and Carol. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited because we have a very dear friend with us today, Jose, who is the owner of Glambert Events and Travel. And Jose does destination weddings and wedding planning just like Carol and I do. But we thought it'd be really cool to sit down with him so you can hear it from a guy's perspective. So, Jose, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mindy, and thank you, Carol, for inviting me. As you say, my name is Jose. I'm from Glambert Events and Travel, and we do destination weddings. We also do wedding planning. I've been in this business for over 20 years. I can't believe it. But I started as a wedding planner. I was a local wedding planner, and then 12, 15 years ago, destination weddings took a boom, and we said, well, I think this is the direction that we're going. So we do destination wedding planning for couples. It's a little bit different than doing a local wedding, but we enjoy it. And there's a big difference. I know that we're here talking about the difference between wedding planning or wedding planners and the hotel coordinators. And this is a very, I know that you guys heard that before when we have couples say, no, I already have a wedding planner. And well, who is your wedding planner? And he said, no, the hotel has a wedding planner. I know this is gonna open a can of worms, but they are no wedding planners. There are wedding coordinators, and there's a big difference between the two. Yeah.
Yes. I think that the industry as a whole wide kind of, and the hotels kind of promote it, that they're giving them that, and it kind of gives them that feel. It's even more reasons why they should call one of us, because we can explain the differences. What's your thought on the differences? Because you do more, you're on site more in a lot of places than we are. What is your differences that you see from just the resort wedding planner perspective versus you?
Well, the main difference is us wedding planners, we work for the couple. The wedding coordinators work for the hotel, and that is going to be the big difference. Yes, they help the couple with their limits, but they're working for the hotel. At the end of the day, they want to make sure that the vendors that they recommend are the vendors that work with the hotel. We take care of our couples, and we make sure that everything that we do and recommend is what's best for them, not for the hotel, because they are our clients.
Yes.
So when you're on site as the wedding planner with a couple, do you have any pushback from the resort wedding teams, or how does that work for you when you're on site?
No, I don't. I normally, we do full wedding planning, but we also do bridal system if they need it. But when we do full wedding planner, we take over the whole wedding. We reach out to the hotel. We explain that now we are their clients. Or couples pretty much never talk to the hotel team until we are there on site, that we have a meeting with them. We take over. We have all the meetings with the team at the hotel. So normally there is no pushback because we already established that relationship months ago working together. So we are the one who do the wedding planning with them, and then we communicate to the couples.
What are some of the trends that you're seeing right now in destination weddings?
Yeah, so one thing that we just discussed is that people want the same thing that they were going to get at home, the same type of wedding, that lush wedding, they want it at a destination wedding. They want the big florals, they want the big arches, all those things that they were going to get at home. They want it, but now they want it in Mexico. They want it in Punta Cana. They want it in Costa Rica. So it's not like, okay, I want to get married destination wedding. I just, the venue itself is perfect already. Perfect. I don't need decorations. Now they're looking to do the same thing they were going to do at home. They want to do it at a destination.
So are you finding that your couples have like one or two big splurge items that they're looking to do in your destination weddings to enhance that overall experience for the guests?
Yes, it's normally now it's all about experiences. They want to make sure that it's not just getting married. Most of our couples do 3, 4 days. One day is a welcome party. Sometimes they do excursions. Now at our weddings that we do, they normally have some type of experience, maybe a mixologist or a coffee bar, or they want to do we're doing a wedding now in September that we have a little market that their guests, they don't want to get welcome backs. What they're going to get is they're going to go shop and they're going to get whatever they want. And we're going to fill it out with local stuff. It's in DR, so we're going to add Mama Juana, we're going to have the hats. So they are going to fill the bags with whatever they want, and people are looking for something, stuff like that, experiences for their guests. Since they take in their guests 3, 4 days out of their home to go to a destination, spending money, we get it. Their guests are also getting a vacation out of this, but they want to make sure that their guest doesn't feel that they are paying that much money to go to a wedding. So it feels more like an experience that they are going to have during the whole weekend or week.
What are you kind of seeing on the average when they're doing that wedding like they're having at home, on an average of how many people are attending those weddings?
So we had a lot of them that are large wedding. Of course, if you're gonna have 250 people wedding at home, you may be expecting 150 to 200, but still, we're still getting large weddings. Then we have other ones that have reduced, and a lot of people are doing two weddings. I don't understand it, but they want to do two weddings. They want to have something that people that couldn't travel, so they're doing something at home. Sometimes even in their own backyard, they do a small wedding, and then they're going to the destination to have the actual weddings with the friends and family that actually join them in the destination.
I've actually had one where, same thing you said, they wanted their wedding, but it was just about the same cost as home. So they did their wedding at home and then they did a group honeymoon trip. That's a trend that I've seen with some, because that's getting that number, 50% again down. That's kind of been a trend that I've seen a little bit as well.
Yeah, and what we discussed also earlier is people think that destination weddings always going to be less expensive, and in most cases are. It's just depending what you want. Now if you want exactly the same thing that you had at home, with the big ballroom with the big flowers, no, it's not going to be less expensive. The flowers cost the same, actually sometimes more, and Florida that is in Punta Cana or Mexico. So, yes, your guests and yourself, as the wedding couple, are going to get a honeymoon or a vacation out of this, but cost wise, might not be that much difference between the two.
I think the big thing, and like what I see a lot of times is depending on where everyone's coming from too, because if everybody has to travel from another destination. I have one coming up that she's in the US. They have some US guests, but some are coming from London, some are coming from Africa. So everybody's at a meeting point, which makes a destination wedding even more easy to attain.
Yeah, and that's what people normally, what I explain to my couples, when you guys are doing a destination wedding, great, you guys gonna get married in a beautiful place, but this that you probably don't spend that quality time at home. Now you guys are gonna go to a place and do a vacation. Yes, you're gonna go marry during that vacation, but it's not just your wedding. Your friends and family are getting a vacation that they probably would have never done with a big group of family members.
I know I've said in the past before my son did a destination wedding and one son didn't, one son did. And I had more fun at the destination wedding. As the mother, I had more fun at that because I got to spend quality time with everybody that I wanted to spend quality time with, not just a few hours. Did it cost any difference? Not really.
And I want to go back because I know the podcast that you invited me, it was about the difference between the wedding planners and the hotel coordinators.
Yeah.
One of the big trends I see is timelines. We start working with our couples and we make sure those timelines we are to the T. Why? Because I have some couples that did not hire us as a wedding planner, which is completely fine. and they tell us it was a fantastic wedding. However, like it went way too fast. We only have 2 hours of reception. And I said, but why? And this was because, the hotel coordinators are there. They're going to make you happy. But if you didn't have a clear timeline and your ceremony started at 5:30 instead of 5, you're not going to get an extra hour of
Right.
reception. That means the reception now, instead of being 3 hours, now is 2.5 hours because you were delayed waiting for whoever, the father of the groom, the bride, whoever it was. But your ceremony started late. Everything else, you're going to be cutting 30 minutes or 40 minutes. That's one of the big things that I hear couples saying, well, we had 3 hour reception, but it was only two because started late. So that is what very, very, very important and big difference. Wedding coordinators are going to be there. They're going to follow a timeline, but hey, they're not going to be somebody pushing you. Remember, the wedding coordinators are not with you the whole time on your wedding day because they have to coordinate to make sure that the vendors, the decor team is there. When we do full planning, we have somebody next to you the whole day. We have a bridal assistant that is making sure that if we have 9 girls that are going to get hair and makeup and we're supposed to be done at 3 p.m., we are done at 3 p.m. Now, is there delays? Yes, it always happen, but we know where to gain that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Destination weddings too, with the timeline.
Yeah. I think,
Yeah, I always try to put my timeline together for my couples and work with a photographer because the photos kind of dictate a lot. Like, okay, when do I need to have them ready by will determine when do I have to have hair and makeup starting. So, and it's funny because we all live in this chat GPT world and it's like, okay, I'm getting married at 5 o'clock. What should my timeline be? And then you'll see them posting these in their group, and you're like, guys, this is so not realistic. Like it's just comical at times.
and the one thing, like you say, the coordinator, so the coordinator at the resort, she may be off making sure everything's set up for the reception and everybody's over in the cocktail area or wandering around here and there. And you're looking at your clock and you're like, you guys got to move. It's time to go. She's not going to go chase those people down.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
mind you, some resorts, that wedding coordinator is the one performing actually the wedding. Sometimes they are the ones in front of your guests as well. Imagine her has to coordinate that and then go to the cocktail hour. Yeah, that creates. And as Mindy, as you said, ChatGPT doesn't give all the answers. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
when it comes to timeline, that's where it's one of the things that I look closer with my team because, as you said, we work with the photographer. The photographers let us know, hey, no, the sunset is at this time, so we need to make sure this is ready at this time. We work with the hotel, with the caterers to make sure everything, because everything, yes, it goes around the photographer, but then is other pieces, like if you have people getting ready. Sometimes we have these bridal parties that are 8, 9 girls doing hair and makeup that we need to make sure that they are taking care, but they're also ready at the time, especially if you're doing a first look or first touch. The wedding is at 5, but your first touch needs to happen way before. So coordinating all those things, the hotel coordinator first don't have any time to do it, and second, as you said, she's running around checking on everything to make
Yeah,
sure
they
that
they're basically, I hate to say it, they're order takers. And it's like, okay, if you bring them chargers or menu card, they're putting the stuff out. They're not, at the end of the day, they just want everything to just run smooth. That's their job. They do this day in and day out. And your wedding, I hate to say it, is no different than the wedding the day
it's
before or the
normal.
wedding
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and it's like the florists, the flowers are supposed to be there at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, the flowers are not there yet. Well, you can't find the coordinator because the coordinator, she might be down setting up she might be down setting up for the wedding venue. And nobody else is there. I mean, it's just you really, but I think the couples realize when they go through it and don't have a wedding planner, that's when they realize how much they would have taken that time. take a
No,
measurement
because
of hairs.
we make sure that every single detail is taken care of. Remember, hopefully our couples only get married once. So if we miss that moment, that's it. They're not gonna get it back. That's
Yeah.
all they're getting one time. So if the photographer getting their shoot or we miss something there, that's it. They're not going to redo the wedding.
Yeah. Are you seeing any kind of pushback from your couples when they're bringing these groups to the resort? The resorts are getting some nice revenue, not only for the room block, but for the wedding as well. But then if you're not using the resort approved vendors, the vendor fees that they have to pay on top of that. Are you hearing any pushback from your couples on those fees?
Um, yes and no. We try to explain to them sometimes, honestly, even with the vendor fees, as you probably know, sometimes the difference, we're talking about a couple $100.
Mhm.
And I explain the difference. The reason why I want to go with this photographer or I'm recommending this photographer is because the quality that you're going to get is superb. Same thing with hair and makeup. Sometimes we have brides that hair and makeup is very important to them. And I come and tell them, look, the wedding team at the hotel might not be able to do it. The spa team won't be able to do that. Let's hire somebody outside. Now, we have brides that say, you know what, I don't care that much about hair and makeup. So we go do the trial with the salon and voila, we spend that money somewhere else.
Mhm.
But we try to concentrate in whatever it is that they are looking for, whatever is important to them, and then recommend those vendors. There are some vendors at the hotels that are great,
Yeah.
fantastic, and we use them.
Yeah.
But there are other ones that they are not so great. It's not what our couples are looking for. And then we let them know, look, this is going to cost you this much money because of the vendor fee. And then they can make the decision. But we try to guide them as much as we can. Part of our job is also work with that budget to make sure that we're staying in line. And sometimes we have to cut somewhere to add the vendor fee. And it happens more often than we think. Sometimes we hire 3, 4, 5 vendors outside because the quality that we're going to get is much better.
Exactly. Exactly. And we were just kind of talking about this on a previous episode of the podcast is, look at options because again, sometimes it's not that much difference. And at the end of the day, after the wedding is done and you're looking back on your memories, you have your pictures and you want to have a photographer that is going to capture that for you. And you also want to look your best. Like I have heard so many times from brides that they did not want to use outside hair and makeup people, and then they'll get their hair and makeup done at the resort and they don't like it. And here they are almost late for their own wedding because now they're rewashing their hair and doing it and putting their own makeup on because they just wanted
Yeah.
to save a couple of bucks.
And again, they're only going to get married once. So
Yep.
if we do it wrong the first time, they're going to look at those pictures and say, well, I wish I had hired somebody from outside. And again, no all hotels are equal. So some hotel, spa salons are better than other ones. And that is when our expertise comes. They can read a lot of reviews. We have worked with some couples. We seen their quality. And again, some hotels are great. They have 1, 2 girls. Same thing when it comes to photos. 1, 2 photographers that are fantastic. Who guarantees that you're going to get the
Right.
same photographer that person in Facebook reviews said it was fantastic? How do we know that we are going to get the same one? It is not guaranteed. So you can work with a photographer from the hotel and they can be fantastic, and then they assign somebody else and they might not be as great.
Yeah.
When do
So
you,
as a guy in this industry, usually it's like the bride's making all the decisions and chit-chatting with the player. Do you feel since you're a guy, the grooms like kind of open up and relax a little bit and they're like, okay, yeah, it's a guy, he understands, I can get involved now.
So I can tell you that's another trend. The guys are getting more involved.
Yeah.
Before, the guys were only getting involved when we were talking about money. When
Yeah.
there's a money conversation, they will join the call. When we had to review budgets, they will join the call. When it was about decor or anything like that, they will not join. That has changed. I have lots of grooms that are there. They know what they want, and they want the same thing the bride is getting. They want the getting ready. I mean, I had a call yesterday, and the groom was like, "Well, I want to get in ready too." And I was like, "Don't worry about it. We got you. It's
Yeah.
not about the bride." They want that part, and some hotels are starting to figure that out, and they are creating, groom suites, so they
Yeah.
also feel as special as the brides. But yeah, but
Yeah.
now they're getting more involved. They want to be part of it. It's not anymore like you rent a suit. No, they want to buy their suit. They want something special. So yeah, I think new couples are getting this together. They are doing this together, and the grooms are getting involved in more details.
Yeah, and I think it's the age of like these couples coming up, these millennials and how they think, and you're right, they want to do everything together. Are you seeing, whether they're hiring you for wedding planning or just doing the destination wedding and they're going to work with the resort team, as far as the struggles of trying to plan this wedding, living in the United States and working with people in another country?
Yes. I'm sure you guys get this. Hey, the hotel team is not answering to me. I sent an email and I'm still waiting for a response. We kind of have a direct line with the hotels that we can
Right.
get faster. But the same thing that they don't understand. They don't understand sometimes couples look at wedding package and say, okay, yeah, my wedding is going to be 15K. And they don't understand. No, this package is a base package. It doesn't include any personalization. It doesn't include any decor. And those are the things that couples now, after they sign the agreement, they realize like, oh yeah, my wedding is not 15K. My wedding is going to be 25. I didn't calculate that. It doesn't have video. It doesn't have pictures. So all those little details become a struggles for them because they don't understand.
Right.
But the communication is the biggest. It's not like they, that they don't understand that. It's that sometimes it's hard to communicate to the hotel team. Remember, those same hotel wedding coordinators are also performing weddings. So they have time to go to their computers and replies on emails, but most of the time they are on site doing other people's wedding.
Yeah. Yeah. The resorts are busy. So, and also, at least I noticed with my couples too, if they're not hiring me to do like the wedding planning, is they don't understand, well, why can't I start now? Where a lot of these resorts don't want to start diving into your wedding planning until 3 months prior. And how am I going to get this all done in 3 months? I need to know what these things are going to cost. So,
and there's a reason, as you know, behind that. It's like at the beginning, couples think that they're going to have 150 people.
yeah.
And then 6 months before, we're down to 50. A wedding planning for 150 is going to be completely different than 50. The hotel's wedding coordinator don't have time to plan your wedding for 150 a year before, and then you say, well, it's only 50 now.
Right.
Because there are some costs that doesn't change. Like photographers can cost you the same if you have 50 or have 100. But there are things that, your decor. If you were planning for 150, you have 15 tables, 15 centerpieces. Now you only have 5. So all those things, they start planning the wedding 3-6 months before, 4 months before, is because that's when you have more of a solid number of how people actually going to attend your wedding.
So when a couple hires you to do wedding planning, what is like do you offer various types of packages based on what they want? And like, when do you start to dive into some of the planning?
So we offer full planning, or we offer a day of coordinator, or we offer a bridal assistant. 3 different things. 95% of our couples that hire, I'll say 99, would do full planning. And we start digging from the day that they hire us. So we start with that. Now, budget is going to change because a lot of those numbers depend on how many people we ended up with. But we start working with them. We start working on the ideas of the plan, the design of the wedding from the moment that they sign their agreement with us.
You feel
And
that
can you
you
explain
need
your
to-
other packages as well?
Yeah, so full planning, again, we take
Right.
over from the beginning. Day of coordinator, just the day off is an extra help that's there with the couple, making sure all the vendors that they selected are doing their job, make sure
Right.
the decor is what they requested, either if it's from the hotel or an outside vendor. We call it day off coordinator. However, they start working way before day off because
Right.
we kind of want to see what they selected. Because the last thing that you want to do is having the bride answer all the questions the day of her wedding, when she's getting the makeup. Somebody said, "Well, did you sign this for how many people you? How many was it?
Right.
How many bouquet do you order?" So that's the last thing that we want to. So we normally, when we do the day of coordinator, we have meetings with their vendors, wherever they selected, to make sure it is what they pay for and it is the vision that they have. The last one is a bridal assistant. A bridal assistant, this is one of the huge one, which is included in our pool planning, or brides have somebody with them all day long. That person there helping them from the moment, even if they use the bridal suite at the hotel or if it's getting ready in her room, is there with them, helping them getting ready. As you know, they're getting ready. They had to get all the all the details for the wedding. So that bridal assistant makes sure that's getting all the stuff. Or bridal assistants sometimes go to, I mean, the last wedding, the bride had a baby. So she had to be taking care of the baby while the bride was able to do some stuff. So a bridal assistant go be far beyond their job title. They do so much for us, and they and actually our grooms now are starting asking like, but can we have an assistant too?
Right.
Uh, so and that's our last wedding. Yeah, the groom was like, well, I want an assistant too. I was like, you got it. Don't worry about it. We're gonna have somebody there. But no, the bridal system is there taking care of the brides, the bridesmaid, make sure everything runs smoothly, make sure that they eat before the wedding, make sure they order lunch, breakfast. Sometimes our brides are started getting ready 8, 9 a.m. So if they not eating, the wedding is at 5 p.m. and started drinking, you know what happened, right? At
Right.
8 and Brian needs to go to her room because she can't hold it anymore.
What
Yeah.
what do you think that when they first, I mean, what is the most important date after they secure their wedding date? What's the most important vendor they secure next? What do you feel?
Um, photo, video, DJ. Yeah.
That's yeah.
But it's all gonna depend on the couple, what's important to them too. But those two, then hair and makeup. But again, wasn't if I have a bride that is all about, I want to have full coverage. I want to make sure that I do reels, contact, photographer is the first thing that we're gonna book. We have couples that are all about photo and pictures, but they don't care about music. There was a, well, I'm just gonna put a playlist.
Yeah.
So that's not important. Then we have some couples that say, you know what, I want to make sure I have a great DJ. And then we need to book that DJ before anything else.
Are you getting I've had this question asked quite a few times over the last couple of months that they don't want a DJ, that they want a band. Are you seeing a trend where they want the live band?
They want live music. We have a couple
Hmm.
where it is more expensive. They understand that. But yeah, they want to have, and that's what I was talking about, the experience. It's very
Yeah.
different when you have somebody playing music. No discredit to the DJ because some DJs are great, but it's not the same when you have a live band that is interacting with your guests.
Hmm.
So a lot of people are requesting that because they want to create that experience for their guests.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you seeing any trends that you wish would go away? Like, oh my God, we've done this so many times. Like, come on, we need to move on to other trends.
No, I think trends come and go, and
Yeah.
for a reason. Pampas was one that I was ready to go away, with the decor. But no, trends are coming and going. But always one thing that we do, we try to make it different every wedding. And trust me, we have couples that said, "Hey, I like this wedding that you did. We want the same thing." I was like, "Look, all our weddings are bespoke. We can get that as an inspiration, but I'm not going to give you the same wedding that I did for another couple because for us those moments are special.
Mhm.
um, I know what you like, because you like this, but we're going to get you something that represents you guys, because that's something that we do. We get to know our couples. Sometimes we're working with these couples a year and a half,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we get to know them and we know what they like, what they don't like. Even when they tell you they like this, you get to know them. It's like, that's not what they like. That's what
Right.
they
It's
think they
like you're telling me you want this, but in actuality, you want this.
want. Correct. So you get to learn who they are, what they want. And that's why one thing that we like the most is when they give us completely control, because they are super surprised when they get to the wedding day.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah.
you feel, as far as wedding amounts, I mean, what do you feel is your capacity that you like to do within a month, a year? What's your capacity of planning? How many do you
Talking
like to?
about the number of weddings or the amount of guests on the wedding?
No, the number of weddings. How many weddings a year do you like to do?
So I only personally do only 10 to 15 weddings a year. I do have two other wedding planners as well that can do 10 to 15. So 10 to 15 is what I feel comfortable. Last year I did a little more, 19, and it was great, because I kind of sometimes fell in love with my couples. I
Hmm.
sometimes I'm so within through the journey that I'm like, I can't say no. Even when there was one wedding that it was one of my other wedding planners, and I said, no, I'm going to that wedding because I've been working and I see you working the whole year. Because even when I'm not involved through the whole thing, I'm involved. I'm
Right.
seeing in the background, I'm seeing the design, I'm there. I'm not a wedding planner, but I'm there.
Uh,
Um, and sometimes we've been working with them so a year and a half, that I was like, I want to go to that wedding, and I go.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that was going to be my next question. So, do all the weddings that come through Glambert Events and Travel, are you present on
No,
site, or is it just sometimes just your staff?
not all of them. So wedding planning, most likely, if they hire as a wedding planner, most likely I will be there. 99%, unless we have another wedding planner doing it. If they are only coming through us for the room block, if we are in the destination, we pretty sure are going to be there.
Hmm.
But if we are not, if we don't hire for that, we're not. We also have staff on destination, so sometimes even when they don't hire us as a wedding planning, we have somebody that go to the airport and to the couple. They're the couple. They go to the resort to make sure that all the rooms are okay. So yeah, we have people on destination, but only wedding planning we are required to be there. If there's no wedding planning, we might not be there. It just
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah. And, I do wedding planning as well. And as you can attest, with packages and stuff, it's a big expense for these couples to say, hey, I want to have, this full planning service. And not everybody has that luxury to afford those additional services. So, what would be some pieces of advice that you can pass on to somebody that doesn't have that extra budget to hire you or me or Carol to do your wedding planning?
I think the biggest advice is to rethink, because one of the things that we offer is budget planning.
Hmm.
And a lot of our couples, when they realize that they had saved so much money doing it with us, like they were doing, because again, the hotel coordinator are going to tell you, hey, this is your photographer, this is your florist, and they're going to quote you whatever they want.
Right.
We, when they come to us and give us a budget, we try to stay within that budget. Of course, there's things that comes along. There's couples that tell us I want something simple, and then they want something not simple, and we
Yeah.
need to tell them, look, we can do it, but it's going to cost you this much money because that was not part of the original budget. So yeah, it is an investment, but it is a peace of mind that their best day of their life is going to go on Hinge.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, I can't think of anything else. Mindy, do you? Or do
No,
you want
I
to add
think this
anything
was
more?
great. And I think it was also great to, again, hear some of this from a guy's perspective, because you don't see you don't see as many men in our industry as you do women. So, um, it is, great to hear your perspective on some things. And, and everything. And, Jose, do you have Facebook, website? How do they find you if
Yeah,
they want to reach out to you?
Facebook, Instagram, all the socials, Glambert Events and Travel. They can find us there. TikTok as well, Wedding Wire. So they can find us anywhere.
Great, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate you spending some time with us and talking weddings with us.
Yes,
Well, thank you
very
guys for
much.
having me. Hopefully, we'll see each other soon.
We will see each other
Yes.
soon. Not far
Next
away.
month in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, and make sure that you'll be able to see this podcast up on our YouTube channel. We also are on all these social media channels as well, Facebook, TikTok, all that. We kind of split the division. And if you would like to ask any questions, make sure you comment on our podcast and we can get them answered. We can also direct you if you can't find Jose, we can direct you in his direction. And I think that's all we have for today, isn't it, Mindy?
Yep. And if you would like to be a guest on our podcast, maybe you just were one of Jose's, clients and want to talk about your experience of doing a destination wedding. It's always fun hearing from a couple's perspective. Or maybe you know a really good vendor that would want to do our podcast. Please reach out to us. We love to chit chat with you. And thank you so much again for tuning in. And we will talk with you soon.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more wedding inspiration and tips. Visit us at destinationweddingtalk.com for resources and updates. And as always, send us your questions to Mindi and Carol. We love hearing from you. Join us again next week for the latest episode of Wedding Talk with Mindi and Carol. Until then, happy planning.